And we're live on the Stables Network.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another edition of ATL Prime Sports, coming to you live from the ATL. Brought to you by the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. Today's guest, along with myself, Todd Corder, is Lou Gamlin, play-by-play broadcaster for Aquinas College Hockey and the ACHA, and he's also a national ACA broadcaster who broadcasts the national ACA National Hockey Tournament each and every year in the month of March. Lou also calls high school football for Michigan Sports Radio.com. Lou, thanks for joining the show. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Todd, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure coming on. I'm doing okay considering the circumstances, missing the sports scene, but as far as anything going on, so is everybody else. We're all in the same boat, so just staying safe.
Exactly, staying safe. Yeah, that's just another story for another day if this was a political show. Well, let's go ahead and get started let's talk about the NFL draft, because that's the biggest thing in sports that's coming up on Thursday. I can't wait for it. I've never been so excited about a draft before. Let's go ahead and start with the Falcons. There's been a lot of crazy stuff around. Should the Falcons draft a quarterback? I know this sounds crazy, but NFL's Ian Rappaport on Complex's Load Management podcast said Thomas Dimitrov is strangely interested in quarterbacks. What are your thoughts of that, Lou?
Boy, I heard something about that, Todd, and I got to tell you, I was a little bit surprised by it. I look at the Falcons. I think they're kind of like the Lions, and not as bad off as the Lions. I'm sorry, I don't mean to, put the fear of God in the Falcons, but I think their needs are kind of like the Lions. I think they need defensive backfield help. I think they need an edge rusher. Defensive end help. I mean, quarterback to me would be far down their list, but just again, like the Lions, they're talking about maybe grooming somebody. I don't know. I would be shocked if they picked a quarterback in the first round. I have them going on the defensive side of the ball myself.
I have them on the defensive side of the ball too, Lou. This is a team that's made some changes at defensive end. They have helped in that position. They did acquire Todd Gurley at running back, which we all know. And when you look at this club, they have made some changes at defensive end with Dante Fowler Jr. coming over from the Rams, along with Todd Gurley at running back coming over from the Rams. They did let Trufant go to the Lions. So, maybe they'll draft a corner. But to me, Gross Montos of Penn State is the guy that I'm looking at for the Falcons at defensive end, because I think they need front seven help desperately. And I mean desperately, because if they can enhance that pass rush, that can make up for some of the mistakes that they're going to have in the secondary. We all know Deion Jones is a great pass rusher. Isaiah Oliver is going to step in at quarterback this year. So, he's going to fill Trufant's shoes. So this is a situation for me where they have to go defense. And Lou, why in the world would you even think about quarterback when you've got Matt Ryan's already signed up with a big contract, and then you have Matt Schaub, who you put money into as a backup. He makes a good chunk of change too as a backup. So I don't see the Falcons drafting a quarterback. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm right there with you. I've got in my Captain Lou. I thought long and hard about this. If the Falcons don't move up, I think that they're going to end up getting. My pick for them would be Clavon Chason, the outside linebacker, the edge rusher out of LSU. I loved him, and I just think he's quick around the edge. I think, along with Chase Young, I think they're the top two edge rushers in this class right now. And the way I have it falling out, unless, again, there's some trades, I have him falling all the way to 16, and I think that's a bargain for Atlanta. And I would scoop him right up if he's available there.
Well, that's interesting because, the word is, I'll get to my question now. The Falcons, they appear poised to move up from number 16, and they've done it 5 times under GM Thomas Dimitroff. Do you think this will be number 6, Lou?
All the way to number. Wow.
No, they've done it 6. They've done it 6 times. Do you?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
They'll do it again? Do you think they'll do it again for a 6th time?
I'll tell you, though, what I've been hearing, I've been reading a lot of reports and listening today. It wouldn't surprise me. And if they do, then it throws all my predictions, right out the window. I could see them trading all the way up as far as possibly number 7. And if they do that, then I'd have to rethink my pick on the Falcons. But if they stand pat, which I honestly think they're gonna this time, I see them getting Chase on. I'm sticking with that pick. I just love him as an edge rusher. If Detroit didn't have such a glaring need at shutdown corner, I would say go after somebody like this guy. But I love the Chase on pick for the Falcons.
Well, you can't go wrong, but Jason could be there at 16. So they may not have to move up to get somebody like that. He could be there at 16. For me, if the Falcons are going to move up, you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You want to go get Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson, who can play multiple positions. He can play safety. He can play a hybrid linebacker position. He's played corner. He played the slot corner. He's played inside linebacker, outside linebacker, like I said, hybrid safety. And he also can get on the edge. So if the Falcons are going to move up, and we'll see if they do, I think Isaiah Simmons is their man. Like I said, if they stay back, maybe C.J. Henderson will be there, maybe not. It's possible that they could draft the offensive tackle out of Georgia and Thomas, but they've already drafted 2 of those last year. Chason is supposed to projected to go 16. He may go sooner. You're right. They may have to trade him a few slots to get him. But that Gross Montos out of Penn State and A.J. Espinoza from Iowa, those are the 2 players they could draft too. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do, because I think they need defensive help desperately, like you. But I tell you what, this is when Dimitroff's amazing. He moved up all those spots to get Julio Jones years ago. Does he move up and get another wide receiver out of Alabama? Does he go Jerry Jeudy? I mean, does he put along with Calvin Ridley? And if he moves up along with Julio Jones, does he take the other Alabama wide receiver, Henry Ruggs? I mean, this is the stuff that Dimitroff does. But Lou, to me, I find the Falcons, the only way I move up, because you've only got 6 picks, is you gotta get Isaiah Simmons, because he kills a lot of birds with 1 stone. If not, sit there at 16. You're still going to get a very good player, and you're going to be able to keep the rest of your draft and next year's and beyond, because they only have 6 picks.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what if they're going to get Simmons, which he's a great pick, and again, you can't go wrong with him. They're going to have to go all the way up to at least 7. And I've seen reports where the Giants could even pick him at number 4, which to me would be a mistake, because they got to get somebody to block for David Jones, in my opinion. They got to go after.
You mean Danny Dimes? Danny Dimes in New York, Daniel Jones?
Yeah, they got to go after. They got to go after either Wirfs or Becton. But so they got to go up high to get him. And again, you're right. They only have 6 picks. They're going to have to sweeten the deal to go. I think maybe if they get Simmons, they probably have to trade with the Panthers at 7, because I think that's where he's going to be. Or, there's so many draft scenarios again. But Detroit, to me, we'll talk that. To me, they're kind of sitting in the catbird seat right now with with what's going on with the draft. And, with Detroit maybe drafted or trading down to 5 or 6 and getting extra picks, they might go that route with Simmons. So Atlanta's going to really have to, in my opinion, they're going to have to go all in to get him. They're going to have to move up to, at worst, at number 7.
Well, you mentioned Detroit. I've never heard many teams say, or many analysts say, the Lions are actually in the catbird seat. That was like music to my ears. Speaking of the Lions, they're in the 3 spot. They're supposed to be projected to draft Jeff Okudah, the quarterback of Ohio State. But Lou, this club, they've got to move down. They've got to get multiple picks and on the defensive side of the ball. And if they could switch with Miami and go to 5 and get another first-round pick and a third-round pick, I'm all for it. Or get a first-round pick and a second-round pick, or just get 2 second-round picks, something where, you're getting really good players instead of just one good player. Because, that's what I think for Detroit.
Well, in my opinion, Detroit, if they stand pat, which you don't know anymore. If they stand pat, then yes, I think they go after Okudah. My ideal situation with the Lions is they trade with the Dolphins at 5, and they're able to get their 28th pick as well. Because if they trade with the Dolphins would get probably Justin Herbert. Then they would be able to pick Okudah at 5, and then they would be able to pick Espinoza or somebody like that at 28. And that would be ideal, because the rumblings I'm hearing is in the second round, Detroit could go after a running back, a solid one, and get somebody Jonathan Taylor or J.K. Dobbins if he falls out of the first round, which I have J.K. Dobbins going to Kansas City at 32. But that's I would love to see Detroit do that. And the reason I said they were in the catbird seat is you could get Los Angeles. I always want to call them San Diego. Los Angeles and Miami, not really in a bidding war, but with the way the doubt that's really starting to creep in with Tua, they both may want Justin Herbert. So I got a feeling that they may sweeten the pot a little bit for Detroit to get that pick, because they're both going to want him. And I just like the position Detroit's in. But as you and I very well know, and everybody else that votes for the Lions or who hates the Lions, they know the Lions could they could screw up a 1-car race. And, it would be you don't know. I mean, that's why I would love to see him take. I think they could get Okudah at 5 along with that 3 and get that extra first-round pick. But, again, what is Miami going to do? Are they going to offer that? I would not take 2 second-round picks. I would say give me at least another first-round pick and maybe a third. They got to get 2 picks, in my opinion, in the first round.
Yeah, I think they've got to get 2 first-round picks, too. I agree. And I think they need a third rounder. I would settle for 2 first-round picks and a second round, or 2 first-round picks and an extra third rounder. There's no doubt about it. But to me, if the Lions do trade and they're in that 5th spot, I'm not taking Kuna for Ohio State. I'm taking Simmons. I think he is a top 5 player in this draft. I actually think he's a top 4 player in this draft, and some think he's a top 3 player because, like I said, he can play all over on the defensive side for the Lions. You can line him up anywhere, and you can go get another cornerback late in the round if you had to, and you could get Anderson later. I think you go get Simmons, and then if Anderson's available, you go get him, because this Simmons kid can put pressure on the quarterback, and the Lions desperately need it. That's the only part you and I would differ. I want I want the Lions to get Simmons with the pick if they're at 5, because he fills multiple positions. And this goes to my next question, which is very interesting, you touched on it. Which quarterback gets drafted after Joe Burrow, assuming the Bengals take him at 1? Is it going to be Tua, Justin Herbert, or Jordan Love, and why?
Well, I'll tell you what right now. I'll say this on your show, and you know me. If Burrow does not go first, I will not cut my hair until the draft in 2021.
You might not be able to anyway.
I've got some old clippers that I've got in the basement. I'm saving for a last resort. You know, it's so funny. A month ago or so, everybody had Tua pegged as the second quarterback being taken. There was talk that Detroit might even take him at 3, and his stock is falling. Now, it depends who you listen to. Trent Dilfer and all this say that Tua's ready to go. He should be the second quarterback pick. There's people talking that he could be picked behind Love from Utah State, which I think is a stretch. You and I have talked before. One of my sleeper quarterbacks in the draft is going to be Jalen Hurts. I just love the guy. I think he's going to come at a very inexpensive price for a team, and they're going to really reap the benefits of that. But in the first round, I think Herbert's gone. I really do. I think he's going to probably go 5 to Miami, again, unless the Chargers trade with Detroit and go to 3, and then the Herbert. Either one of them is going to go, and then Tua's going to go after him. And Tua could go, in my opinion, he could go 6. He could slip further down to 9. Maybe wow. Jacksonville will get him at 9.
Wow.
But that's just my opinion. I'm worried about Tua, about his health, his mobility. You know, is he going to be able to adapt to the pro game? And I don't know. That's why I'm going with Herbert.
Interesting. Glad you did, because this is great. This makes for great conversation. I actually, if I'm a club, I'm going for Tua. I know the injury history. I know the hip. He's came back from all of it. He looks good throwing the ball. He's got a big health, a clearance of health, a full bill of health, as I may say. And to me, I think when I watch the tape, Tua is way ahead of Herbert. I think he's way ahead of him. I know he's smaller. I know all this. But I look at Tua and I see a left-handed Drew Brees. I see a gunslinger. He'll have to learn to get rid of the ball and throw it away more at the big level. But, if I'm the Dolphins, I don't really have to move, because if the Giants aren't going to take a quarterback, the Lions aren't going to take a quarterback, the Redskins aren't going to take a quarterback. Now, if your man's Tua, I guess if you're the Dolphins, you do want to trade up to make absolutely certain, or Herbert, that you're going to get him. But if you see during the draft that Washington's not moving, Detroit's not moving, or the Giants are moving, Detroit's not moving, you can get your man at 5. So it's a gamble. It's a gamble. But San Diego to me is at 6. And they're the ones that are actually in a better spot draft-wise than 5. And here's why I think that. They're going to get a quarterback what everybody else does, unless 2 teams who move up there. They're going to get either Herbert or they're going to get Tua. And both of them are good quarterbacks. I just think Tua is more ready for the NFL, and they'll get one. And who knows who their guy is? I mean, I've even heard Jordan Love sweep up there and get in the top 9. Somebody's desperate for a quarterback, the kid out of Utah State. So I don't know if these teams really have to move. I think it's based on how other teams move. If they sit back, they could get burned and somebody could hump them. So to be sure, they could make the trade. So, there's multiple ways this can go. But I've got Tua the first quarterback after Joe Burrow. For those reasons alone, when I watch the tape, he's more ready. He steps up in the pocket. I know Herbert had a great season his last year, but I don't know, man. I think if Tua learns to get rid of the ball and doesn't hang on to it, try to extend the play, he can have a healthy career. But I don't know.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, here's a question for you, and this is something that I haven't gotten an answer that I'm satisfied with. Is you've got Washington sitting at 2.
Right.
Now, I understand everybody is penciling them in to get Chase Young out of Ohio State, and Chase Young is a talent. He could be a once in a generational talent, but I got to tell you, Chase Young to me he didn't show up in that game against Michigan. They handled him pretty easily, even though Ohio State won. They didn't win because of Chase Young, in my opinion. He was pretty silent. And in their bowl game, I thought he wasn't much of a factor. I'm surprised that there isn't more talk of Washington. I understand what they've got. They've got Haskins, but Haskins doesn't want me to go out and start reserving money for a Super Bowl ticket for the Redskins. I'm shocked at Washington. I wouldn't be surprised. I give it about a 5% chance that Washington throws everything in a loop and takes Tua or Herbert at 2. And I'm just surprised there isn't more talk of that. That's all.
I'm a little surprised. I'm not totally surprised. Remember, they do have Alex Smith recovering from the injury. And like you said, they have Haskins. So, they've got Alex Smith. I don't know Washington's third quarterback on their roster, but they've got another quarterback. I can't remember the name of it. It's off the top of my head. When you look at the Redskins quarterback wise, they've got Alex Smith. They owe him a lot of money. So,
yeah.
Could they go quarterback? They could. I mean, it's possible. Wow, you threw me for a loop. I didn't think we would talk about that. I mean, and I don't blame you for bringing it up. I mean, it's possible they could go quarterback, but it's just so wide open. I've never seen the draft be so wide open that anything can happen, especially with the communication devices they're using now. The Lions have an IT guy pulling up in the GM Quinn's driveway, Bob Quinn's driveway in Winnebago in case something goes on. And also you mentioned Washington's quarterbacks. It just hit me. Kyle Allen, they got him from Carolina. So could they draft a quarterback? I doubt it because they got 3 quarterbacks on the roster and Alex Smith, who's coming back from an injury, Dwayne Haskins, who they had drafted, and they just got Kyle Allen in a trade from the Panthers. So for those reasons alone, I don't think they go 2 at quarterback. I don't see it. And you're right though about Chase Young, because he disappeared in the second half against Clemson. He had a decent half in the first half when Ohio State did well, but he didn't show up in the Michigan game, and he was nowhere to be found in the second half of the Clemson game. You're right about that.
Well, we talked about this draft is, and I'd been thinking about that in the last couple of days about Chase Young and about Washington. But you're right. I think it's still a given that Chase Young's going to go there. It's funny because what I've been reading about about Jordan Love is that New Orleans could be making a trade for him. They could trade up to Cleveland to get him. And that wouldn't surprise me either. And if, some people say he's going to be available at 24. Jordan Love to me, Todd, it's kind of deceiving. He didn't have as good a year last year as he did the year before, but he didn't have the weapons. And, I mean, his team wasn't nearly as good, in my opinion, and I think that kind of might shy some teams away from him. I think he's a talent, but I think it might be a stretch to see him go in the top 10.
Well, I tell you, I heard the name thrown around with Jordan Love is like Patrick Mahomes, and you mentioned him going to New Orleans at 9. Would it shock me? No. Here's another scenario that have him going to the Dallas Cowboys at 17. I heard that and I went, whoa. And then I thought to myself, I can see Jerry Jones doing that to send a message to Dak Prescott. You better sign that contract right now. I mean, he's to go off a little bit. He's crazy not to sign he needs to sign the deal in front of him. It's $33 million. Go ahead and sign it. Sign the tag. Go participate. He can be Kirk Cousins. He can get tagged again for $33 million and then get the long-term deal. If he sits out with all this money sitting here, I think he's crazy. And you know what? I don't think Dallas is so crazy to think about a quarterback. Maybe crazy to think about it in round one, unless they believe Jordan Love is the next Mahomes. If not, your man, Jalen Hurts, and mine too. I love Hurts as much as you do. Get him in the second round. I could see him in a Cowboys uniform, or I could see him in a Steelers uniform. And here's
That's
another
funny
team.
You say that.
And here's another team that'll scare you. I could see him in a Bears uniform, haunting the Lions on a Sunday.
Well, with Jalen Hurts, my prediction is he won't make it out of he won't last past the second round. There's three scenarios in my book. I think he's going to either Dallas at 51, or he's going to go to Pittsburgh at 49 above him, or you could see Green Bay moving up and taking him in the second round. Because, now, hear me out on this, because Brett Favre was older when they or younger, I should say, when they drafted Aaron Rodgers in the first round. Aaron Rodgers is older. And Jalen Hurts can sit for a year or two and, learn the ropes, and then boom, set him in there he won't have a first round contract, so the salary cap hit won't be that bad. And that's my crazy scenario for Jalen Hurts. And I could see him he's definitely going to be picked by the second round.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And I can see him going to the Packers, and I can see him haunting the Detroit Lions or the Bears for years to come. I can absolutely see it. And, Rodgers, he's making that big money. He could sit and learn behind Rodgers for a few years and take over. I don't know. Something about Jalen Hurts, though, man. I saw him play at Alabama when he backed up Tua. And, man, throwing the ball, I thought, he's going to have to pick another position at the next level. But all of a sudden, his last year at Alabama, he started getting better. He took over for Tua when Tua got hurt in the SEC championship game against Georgia and brought him back and looked fantastic. And then he goes to Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma, and holy smokes, what an improvement in the passing game. I mean, I'm huge on Jalen Hurts, and I know you are too.
Well, here, Todd, I got to give you something I just read before you let me go.
Oh,
here's
we're
a trade
on for a
rumor.
little bit. We're going to stay on a little longer today. Go ahead.
Trade rumor. Your boy Tom Brady is one of his favorite targets. The Buccaneers pending a physical. Fourth round draft pick.
Who would get him?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay would get who? I lost you. I didn't hear that.
Rob Gronkowski.
Oh my God! But if he comes back, isn't he under the Patriots' rights?
Well, that's what they're going to trade him. They're trading him to Tampa. It says here.
Okay. That part I didn't hear. I'm sorry. So they would trade for Rob Gronk, and they would put him in Tampa Bay along with those two stud wide receivers they already have. Holy smokes! All I can see right now is Tom Brady getting deep in the playoffs, and who knows how far they'll go. They caught him in Tampa Bay's park when it was closed yesterday running, and a worker came up to him and said, what are you doing here? Could you imagine what that conversation will be like? Would you imagine that conversation be like, Lou? Sir, what are you doing here?
Oh, boy. It would be crazy.
Tom Brady, he wouldn't go, don't you know who in the hell I am? Get out of here. I'm going to run. Tom Brady went, I'm Tom Brady. Nice to meet you. May I finish my run, sir? And then I'll take off in a little bit. And the guy's probably going, yeah, that'd be great. Just go ahead and take off now that it's closed. I mean, could you see that? I could absolutely see that.
Boy, that would be something.
Wouldn't it? Could you imagine you're a park worker and you walk up and it's Tom Brady and you're going, oh, you know, it's nice to see you, sir. What the mayor of Tampa, Jane Castor, said in her briefing on yesterday, that the Tampa Parks Rec employee just, saw him and said, hey, it's Tom Brady. It's closed. Tom probably said, well, I probably got about another 20 minutes to work out here. Can I go ahead and finish up and I'll sign an autograph for you or something? The guy's probably like, yeah, sure. That you could take. Look, Tom, you can work out for the rest of the day. Just go ahead and go ahead. I mean, instead of, don't you know who I am? Blah, blah, blah. That's not Brady's style. He's all class. So,
yeah.
Hey, I got to ask you this because we're going to go on a little longer today. Do you have time?
I got about 10 minutes.
Perfect. That's all I've got. So what's GM to you? That we'll see. Our answers may different. They may not. Which GM to you is under the most pressure to get the draft right and win in 2020?
Well, I got to tell you, I think I got to look to my hometown Lions. I think Bob Quinn is under the gun. Martha's not getting any younger, as everybody knows. She's about 175 years old, and she wants a winner. And I think your Falcons are right there with them, and because the clock is ticking for Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's got a few more years, but
he does.
I think they've been patient. And those are the top two right there, in my opinion. You go down the list. I think possibly the Jaguars.
Hey,
Lou. Those are the three. Yeah.
I just got Lou. I have breaking news. The Patriots have traded Rob Gronkowski to the Buccaneers in a deal that reunites him with Tom Brady. It just happened. It just happened, man. What are you, like, got a crystal ball over there or what?
Well, I got my eyes and ears out, man. It's insane. Now they got to wait. They're going to have to make a deal with Vince McMahon since he's in the WWE as a champion there.
You still with me? You know what, Lou? It just came across. It just came across. It said, source, Gronk dealt to Bucks, reunite with Brady. Do you believe it, man? Holy smokes. You just said it 3 minutes ago. Not even 3 minutes ago. And now it's going to happen.
I know.
Well, you must have a crystal ball up there, man. I mean, that was awesome. And you got that right on my show, which I really appreciate you doing that.
That's all right.
I'm going to give you another GM. It's got to be Bill O'Brien. He traded DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson and a draft pick. And if David Johnson doesn't come through, he says he's healthy. If he doesn't come through, he might as well traded him for a box of rocks. I mean, he didn't get anything out of him. And then to compound the problem, he made another trade that to me it is not going to work out very well. So, that I don't understand. Bill O'Brien is right up there in my list because he's got all the power. He's the GM, the coach, and everything. What do you think about that?
I forgot. Brian, that's a great one. I'd have to squeeze him up there probably ahead of Bob Quinn. He has made some head scratching trades. That's to put it politely, I guess you could say. And got to be sitting there in Houston thinking, what is going on here? Deshaun Watson's got to be looking at him and saying, you're taking away my best weapon for a guy who can barely stay on the field. And it's I don't know. They've given him all the power there at Bill O'Brien. And they've been winning that division, but it's not a division that jumps out and scares you. Indianapolis isn't the greatest team right now. They're kind of, I mean, they're good, but they're not going to scare you. Yeah, and Jacksonville, we all know their story. They're kind of like Detroit South, and I mean, so either one. And Tennessee, Tennessee to me, that's such a wild story. We could talk about that another time. Boy, putting all their eggs in the basket of Tannehill, I personally think that was a one-hit wonder.
Well, we're going to find out. The Texans also acquired Cooks and a 2022 fourth-round NFL draft pick for a 2020 second-round pick earlier this month. I'm thinking, he better hope Cooks is healthy, does Brian or O'Brien, or he's got not only that problem, but he's got another problem, and he could be out the door. He better hope Brandon Cooks and David Johnson have one hell of a season, or he's probably going to get fired before the end of the regular season.
Well, let me ask you this, Todd, about Cooks. It's a very interesting stat. The guy has gotten 3 1,000-yard seasons out of his 4 that he's been, I believe. And this will be the 4th time he's traded. So I understand he's making some decent money now, but something's got to tell you about a guy who's been traded 4 times.
Yeah,
and he's only been in the league 4 or 5 years.
He's too injured, and he's a pain in the neck.
Pain in
the neck and you're injured. I mean, in terms not being a pain in the neck off the field, but a pain in the neck that you can't count on him. He's injured too much. Even though he did play an important role on the Rams Super Bowl team, he caught like 80-something. I think he caught 80 catches for like over 1,200 yards and 5 touchdowns that year. I mean, he had a great year, but he's got to stay healthy. And if you can't stay healthy, you're not any good to any of these teams. And, but to me, it's O'Brien, Dimitroff, and obviously Bob Quinn. I mean, you could shake a stick. I think they're all equally in trouble. One last question before I let you go. These quarterbacks, they're projected to go in the second round. Would you still take Hurts in front of Fromm and Jacob Eason? And do any of these guys slip in the first round? Do they slide into the first round? Do they move up in the first round?
Wow. I've been thinking about Eason. There's another is really flying under the radar, and I just don't see him going in the first round. I think you could see Eason going. I saw where he was projected in 2 or 3 mock drafts to go to Indianapolis in the second round. That to me would be a good spot. Then that would be just ahead of Hurts. I think those two are about even in my book. Maybe, in my opinion, Hurts might have the edge on him. And Fromm, I think, could be a 3rd-round pick. But, again, he could be a pick kind of like Kirk Cousins.
He could
end up really doing well for somebody.
That's an excellent comparison. A lot of people have him going in round 3 to the Patriots. I could see. I think that is a perfect fit if they take him in round 2 or 3. Of these 3 quarterbacks, look, Jake Fromm beat Jacob Eason out at Georgia. Jacob Eason started. He got hurt. Fromm came in. He played better than him. They stuck with Fromm. Eason transferred to Washington. Fromm's record at Georgia is incredible. I want to say it's 32 and 3 or 4 or 5, somewhere in that range. I don't know what his record is, but it's real close to that. He's a winner. He hasn't lost a lot of games. And if he goes to the Patriots and they enhance their wide receiver core, I don't know. I like Jake Fromm an awful lot. Do I like him better than Jalen Hurts? I think it depends on your style of quarterback. But Jacob Eason, to me, I would take him 3rd of these 2. And then depending upon your style, whether you take Hurts or Jake Fromm. And I think they all go in the second round. I do. I think it's going to be a bevy of quarterbacks. I guess maybe Fromm could be the one to slip to the 3rd round, but what a value pick it would be for the Patriots.
100%. I would take him there. If he's there for the Patriots, I'd gobble him up in a hurry.
The guy's a winner, man. He reminds me a lot of Brian Greasy at Michigan. He just gets the job done.
100%.
He gets it done. Well, Lou, thanks so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you. You'll be back on the show on Thursday at 4:00, and then I'm going to be on your. Tell everybody before you go about your draft deal on Thursday night. I'm going to join you then too.
Well, we're going to be on at 8:00. We're going to be on the 12-ounce Sports Network. We're going to have our NFL draft special. There's going to be on bannering back and forth, at least right now. Myself, you, and Logan Ward, who does a show for us in the mornings. We're just going to go through. We're going to just invite everybody to turn the and the three-letter networks down their volume. You can maybe look at their screen if you want, but I invite you to look at us instead. And we're gonna do our draft show, and we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, Todd, like I said, is gonna come on and join us. We're gonna be on at 8:00. We're going to start at 7:45. We'll have a little banter back and forth before the draft starts, and then a little preview, and then we'll discuss the picks as they happen. Should be a lot of fun.
And we'll all be on Facebook Live. You'll actually be able to see all of us, correct?
Absolutely. Actually, we're going to be on our network, but it will be. I'm going to share it on our Facebook page, but it's on the 12ouncesportsnetwork.com is where we're going to be at.
So the camera will be on all of us then.
Yes, sir.
That's terrific. You know, I really don't want the camera on me, but sure, I'll do it. Why not? Lou, thanks so much for coming on. I'll see you. I'll talk to you twice. I'll actually see you on Thursday night, and I'll talk to you Thursday afternoon. Thanks for coming on today. My pleasure as always. Thank you, Todd. Thank you. Lou Gammon, ACHA National Hockey Broadcaster, and also does play-by-play for Aquinas Hockey during the ACHA regular season. And he also does high school football in the state of Michigan for MichiganSportsRadio.com. Lou's done quite a bit of ball games. We broadcasted together, him and I, in the ACHA National Hockey Tournament in Dallas, Texas area last year. Was in Plano and cities around there. Plano and cities around there. So, we had an excellent time. I was play-by-play one time. We flipped the script. I would do color when he did play-by-play, and then I would do play-by-play and he would do color. So we've gotten to know each other real well. We're both natives from the University of Michigan originally. I've been down here in Georgia for 30 years. So my time is I've been in Georgia actually longer than Michigan. So that doesn't seem possible, but it is. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank Lou for coming on. Tomorrow on ATL Prime Sports, our show is from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll take callers at 678-280-7123. That's 678-280-7123. We'll have Dave Cohen, the voice of the Georgia State Panthers, who does play-by-play for basketball, football, and baseball. We'll have him join myself and JJ, and we'll talk about Georgia State players possibly getting drafted in the NFL draft, and also free agents, and talk also about a little bit more about the Atlanta Falcons and see if any stories have changed where they may go in this year's NFL draft. And you can call in and talk at 678-280-7123. And we will take your calls after that interview up until 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Thursday, Lou will be back with me from 4 to approximately 4:30. We'll get you set for the NFL draft. And on Thursday night, I'll join him on 12 ounce. We'll be on Facebook, and we'll analyze each team's pick in the first round. And that will be an absolute blast. You can join us then. Thank you very much for listening today. Stay safe and have a great evening. Bye now.